With Broadway credits under his belt, this actor made his television debut starring as Ray Luca in Michael Mann's critically acclaimed drama, Crime Story.
Since that time, the actor has appeared in more than 24 motion pictures. Here to talk about his latest role in the TV drama, Major Crimes, is Tony Denison. Welcome to Arise 360.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
It's
good to be back in New York.
Good to be back in New York, because you've been living in LA for well over a decade now, huh?
More than a decade, actually. I moved to LA officially in '87 when I was doing Crime Story.
Yes.
In between hiatuses on Crime Story.
Do you miss New York?
Yes, we were just talking about that. I miss it very much. But I always say, like, my heart is in New York and my body's enjoying the sunshine in LA. So.
Exactly. So you are now in season 3 of Major Crimes. Tell us about the show and your character, Lieutenant Andy Flynn.
Well, you know, it's a great character because he's a kind of guy that, you know, walks up to that line where, you know, you could say the ends justify the means, but he doesn't cross over that.
Right.
So he just walks right up to that and like, he just like sort of leans over it a few times, but doesn't go over. And that makes for an interesting thing to play as an actor. Because, I mean, you can play a character who goes over the line, and then, you know, as far as television's concerned, it's real easy to do. So when you're not doing that and you're trying to maintain that, you know, intensity, I like that they draw the character like right up to the line. So.
What do you enjoy most about playing a morally ambiguous character?
Well, I mean, I don't know if he has ambiguity in that sense. I mean, he's a very loyal guy. He's got like certain values. I mean, to the squad, you know, like with Mary, they were originally adversaries, and then the minute there was a meeting of the minds, and he realized that she's not too far from his philosophy and his belief in how to do the best job you can do, and that we're really there serving and protecting, he suddenly now has her back. And now there's this new thing out there called Shandy, because her character is Sharon and my character Andy.
Yes.
And there's this...
It's like the Brangelina.
The Twitter and Facebook.
Hashtag Shandy.
Yeah, and then, you know, the Flynn girls, and then there's Shandy, which is so complimentary and you know, and it's unsolicited. It just happened.
Well, you made it when a hashtag is named for your character and or the character or a union, if you will.
An amalgamation.
Amalgamation.
Yes.
Help us connect the dots. So this show was a spin-off from The Closer, which had a run for 7 seasons. Can you sort of, how did the two correlate?
Yeah. Well, actually, The Closer was 7.5 seasons.
Okay.
And when Kira's contract was up, she wanted to move on to other things. James Duff, the executive producer of the series, said, I've got more stories I want to tell.
Yeah.
He said, so we're going to figure out some kind of configuration here. Because we're not really a spin-off in the truest sense of the word, because it's basically still the same everything.
Right.
So he took Mary, who was reoccurring as this character, you know, Raider, Captain Raider, who was nicknamed Dart Raider because she was in internal affairs, and he moved her into the squad through the character of Rusty, Graham Patrick Martin, and suddenly this hybrid, you know, evolved, and we're doing even better numbers than The Closer, and The Closer was the #1 show on cable television.
What's the feedback you're getting from the fans, you know, in terms of this new space, this new sphere for 3 years?
Yeah, it's really great. A lot of people, the comments, you know, about the subtleties in the show are, you know, it's an astute audience that we have. They're really sharp because they pick up on all the things that make the shows different. I mean, The Closer was a great run, and it was a lot of fun doing that.
It was incredibly well received by viewers and critics alike.
And the people moved over.
Did you know that show was going to be such a huge hit when you signed on the dotted line?
Well, G.W. Bailey and I, when we watched the pilot of The Closer, the screening, we both looked at each other and we said, at the end, the show's going to be a hit.
How did you know?
There's just something about the characters. I mean, character was really important, as well as the plots. As good as the plots are on that show, character is like key. And they found this like really interesting blending of character and plot. And the same sort of thought process happened when we were doing Major Crime, when Major Crimes was about to start. Ray Cruz and I were talking, and we both agreed We didn't know it was going to do better numbers than The Closer,
Yeah.
but we knew it was going to be a successful show because it's the same ensemble. It's obviously the same executive producer and his great staff of
Yeah.
writers. And we did. I mean, we were nominated, 5 times for
Absolutely.
Ensemble Awards.
Well, tell me this. Did you expect that your character would survive so many episodes? You still live. You're living,
Yeah, yes. You're surprised every year that the show gets a pickup.
Many
and-
actors
and-
say that.
And
yeah.
then, it's really nice when they call you up and tell you they're renewing your contract for yet another year, and it's great. And I feel like we're all each one of us has an important part to play in this ensemble.
Yeah.
And I love working with Mary McDonnell. I mean, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she is.
She's wonderful. I always tell people if she's a fake, there's no hope for mankind.
Oh, I love that.
Because she's so sweet.
Oh, so when were you first bitten by the acting bug?
Oh, I was in your end of the business at one point. I was a newspaper editor.
You were.
awesome.
I was a
journalist.
newspaper reporter.
I was a journalist, yeah. And
I've read a newspaper. I've read one.
and I don't read them anymore.
They're extinct.
Yeah, I read, I had one just the other day and I had all this ink on my hands.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't read it anymore. No, I was reading the New York Times, which I hadn't read for a while. But I was out of work. I was collecting unemployment, and I decided to take a continuing education class at the college, New Paltz, where I'd graduated from, and was acting or photography. And the photography was too expensive. I couldn't afford a camera. I was out of work.
Yeah.
So I said, let me do this acting thing, because my mom, God rest her soul, used to say to me, Anthony, you ought to become an actor because you're the greatest storyteller that ever lived, which is a euphemism for you're a great liar.
Yeah.
And
Storyteller.
Right, storyteller.
Yeah.
So I took the class. The guy who was conducting the class thought I had something, and he said, let's do a scene night for the program.
Yeah.
And on the stage, when I said my first line after I was like petrified, and I started breathing, and the audience was breathing with me, I thought, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So right there in that moment. And I was, I think, 27 years old.
They call
So
that
I
a
was
calling.
late-
That's a calling.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I said, okay, this is what I want to do. And I went about the business of trying to make that happen.
Well, we're happy you did.
Well,
Really
me
happy.
too.
Now
Me
you've
too.
inspired me. Maybe I should take an acting
This is
class.
what I'm saying, Lola. It's the perfect name for life.
Yeah, Lola's a great name. I mean,
Yes, it is, isn't
It
it?
really is.
So got the name. I need the skills. But thank you so much for being
skills.
here.
I mean, I guarantee you have the skills.
You
it's
think
just
I do?
a question of.
You think I've got it?
Yes. Well, you got all the other material.
Yes,
so-
you
Oh,
do.
thank
And
you.
here in the year of Lupita, I'm just saying.
No, I mean, you can. It's just a question of deciding how much you want it. If you really, really want it, you can go for it. And there's a niche somewhere in this business for everybody.
Wow.
I mean, maybe you won't wind up in front of the camera. Maybe you'll wind up as a director or a writer or a producer. But somewhere along the line, you'll find a way to stay into this creative business and be happy.
I love that.
I love it.
I love
Perfect
that.
place to end. Thank
Okay.
you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here, sir.
Thank
you.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Come again anytime.
I
All
will.
right.
Will
Happy
do.
holidays.
Thank
Happy
you. Right back
holidays.
at you.
And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360.